Hey, good afternoon. It's Dwayne Richards. It's Calm Cafe Facebook Live edition. And I have a guest with me that we just got, actually, we've been connected for a while, but it just happened like 2 hours ago. And people say, how did you get Robert Raymond Riopel on your Calm Cafe? And you know what I did is I just asked him. I invited, and guess what he did? He took immediate action and said yes. So Robert, I've met a few years ago on the stage. He was or is. We'll let him tell us what he's up to now. But I saw him as a lead trainer with Peak Potentials, New Peaks. Him and his wife here in Toronto, about a year and a bit ago, doing a fantastic piece on relationships. And so Robert is a speaker, trainer, and author. I love it when I have authors on. And he also has his own podcast. He was just telling me he's had his podcast for about a year. So he's going to tell us a little bit about the new book, and I'll ask him about the importance of having a podcast and building a community. So welcome to Calm Cafe, Robert.
Hey, thanks for having me on. And you said it exactly right. If you don't ask, it's an automatic no. And so the fact that you asked, it's like, done. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. When? Well, why not now? And so that's how success happens, is you've got to be willing to just jump on opportunity when it's there and be willing to ask people, because if you don't, it's that automatic no. So, thanks for asking me to be on, and thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, I do a bunch of Facebook Lives, just me talking, and I'm sure my people get bored of just hearing me. And I love the title of your book because it's Success Left a Clue. And we know that success leaves clues, so why not bring on successful people? And I'm not sure what we're going to talk about today, but I want to hear. I'm going to tease people about pizza and pigs and passion. Three P's, because I remember you here in Toronto, and I was doing Karma Crew, and there was lots of stories about pizza and a couple of stories about a pig, and both you and your wife with passion and relationships and passion for business and entrepreneurs and training and what you do. So where do you want to start? Passion, pigs, or
well, let's
or pizza?
Let's start with the P that stands for pizza, because now you got me hungry. You got me thinking about that. Now I haven't had lunch quite yet, and I'm like, now you're talking about pizza? What are you trying to do to me? So let's talk about pizza.
All right, how did it get started? There's you and Jim Terlivin, I think, have a commonality about getting business started with pizza.
Well, yeah, where I live here in Alberta, with our oil industry in this province, we go through those oil booms, we go through those oil busts. And way back in 1989, when I was laid off from a job that I thought I was going to be with for 40 years, believing that the company, I work hard, I stay loyal, that company's going to take care of me. Wrong answer. We were in the middle of an oil bust, and there was no work. I was newly married. I wanted to do something to support my family. So I ended up starting delivering pizzas for Domino's Pizza. And like 95% of the franchisees, I started as a driver, I became a manager, and after successfully managing a store for at least a year, showing I knew what I was doing, I knew how to follow the system, I was qualified now to become a franchisee. So my wife and I decided, even though we didn't have the money to do it, we found a way to buy a franchise and do it with no money of our own, and we became franchisees for Domino's Pizza at that moment, way back in not even that early, 1993, we became franchisees and started our Domino's Pizza career. Franchisees for 9 years, started making some pretty good money, not realizing our mindset, what we call our blueprint, was set for spending more money than we had. And so at the 8-year mark, we were $150,000 in debt, going down quickly. And that's when we were introduced to personal development for the first time, which kind of brings the other P in. And because I was raised in a family that didn't have a lot of money, our goal was, when we started working, was find the highest paying job. What's going to give you the most money? Go for that, because that's how you take care of your family. But when I discovered personal development, I realized it's about finding your passion and then learning how to do what you love and make money doing what you love. And that's where I tapped into my passion of being a trainer, because when I was introduced to personal development and able to use a little bit of knowledge, go from $150,000 in debt to all of a sudden being retired financially free a short time later when I was 32, I went, wow, that worked. And I dove even deeper into the passion of personal development and realized I wanted to do this. Because if I could even help one person do what my wife and I had been able to do, go from being in debt to financially free, it would make it all worthwhile. And so I created the reality, because when you have passion, Dwayne, there's roadblocks all through life. Life happens. It is what it is. And if you don't have a passion for something, you're going to be stopped. But when you're passionate, that's what keeps you moving forward. And so for the last 15 years, I've had the blessing of traveling around the world, actually getting to transform people's lives. And literally, and it's funny, even in the last 2 weeks, I've literally actually flown around the globe. I did a full flight. I went from Calgary, I flew to Frankfurt to Dublin, Ireland, back to Frankfurt over to Singapore, and then Singapore to Tokyo back to Calgary. I physically flew around the world in the last 2 weeks and transformed over 1,000 lives doing that. So I'm living my passion right now. And then, of course, you go into pigs. What does a pig have to do with it? Well, 6 years ago now, she came into our lives at 2 days old. We actually had the blessing, and I'm going to see if I can do this and show it. But that's my baby, Gracie May. Oops.
Gracie May.
All 245 pounds of her. And she's actually out in the backyard right now, chilling and relaxing, enjoying the summer afternoon. And you know what? 2 days old, we got her. She was this big. And I've learned so many lessons from her. People say that if you want to learn anything, watch nature, learn from nature. And in the 6 years we've had her almost, she's taught us so many lessons about tenacity, focus, going for what you want, that, one of our next projects, now that Success Left a Clue is out, one of our next projects is my wife Roxanne and I starting the children's book series called The Adventures of Gracie May, and getting her story out about how and we're going to make it a children's book series. And that's kind of how the 3 Ps come into play.
And that's what I love about interviewing people that I already know, because I'm getting better at it, asking those questions, just a quick question about, passion, pigs, and actually, I knew the pizza and the pigs, and then passion, and I love how you tied in the passion to the personal development, which is another P, and being a trainer. So, okay, that's all I got for you. What's in the book?
That's all I got for you. All right, cool. Well, in this little book right here, we have taken and I've created 6 steps. From my journey in personal development, I started watching successful people. I started watching happy people. I started watching to see if there's things that they had in common. And I started noticing that there's actually clues to success all over the world. And as you know, Dwayne, one of the things I'm known for on stage is I love giving people clues, hence why the photo on the front of the book. And so when I decided to write the book, I distilled things down into 6 very powerful steps that a person can use to actually take and not only just dream, but actually get their dreams to come to reality. And we back it up with some science behind it. Why does it work? How does it work? And so the book walks people through these 6 steps. And at the same time, the book also has 25 of my clues throughout the book. So little life principles, success principles that people can use and contemplate. And then the other thing that we've done is I don't want people to just read it. The book is not just a book. This is a nice read, great. The book actually will have you do homework, or action steps is what we call them. Every time a chapter is completing, there's action steps that we want you to do. And then I'll stop you throughout the book and say, hey, have you done the action steps? If not, don't even read any further. Go back, complete the action steps, because either you create a habit of success, a habit of taking action, or a habit of not taking action. And so think of it like a workbook, not just a book, but a workbook to actually bring those dreams physically right into reality. And so kind of an overview. That's why it says 6 life-changing habits to achieving your dreams while keeping it real, relevant, and repeatable. Part of my branding, of course, is that my 3 R's of my name, Robert Raymond Riopel. And that also stands for I keep success real. I'm never going to just give people fluff. Success takes work. It takes work. And that's one of the things that unfortunately actually holds people back from going for success. But Dwayne, I know you can relate to this. Most people are working harder being broke, so they're working hard anyway. So why not put the hard work into creating the success? So I'm going to keep it real for people. Also, we make sure we keep it relevant. Not stuff that worked 20 years ago but doesn't work today. No, I want to keep it relevant. What's working now? What do you need to do now? And then, of course, everything we do, we make sure it's repeatable. I want to make sure that people can use these principles going forward. So that's why we do that. And I know that one of my business partner, I've got 2 amazing business partners. One is my wife, Roxanne, who I would not be where I am. You want to talk about keeping it real? She keeps it real with me. I would be comfortably miserable in a job right now if it was not for her. And I'll kind of use that as an example, right, from one of the things I have in the book that I wrote. Story about a young boy who's at the zoo. And when he's at the zoo and he's walking around the zoo and he comes up to the bear exhibit and he sees this bear and he can tell the bear's unhappy. He can tell the bear's miserable. So when a zookeeper comes along, he says, I have a question. The zookeeper says, yeah, what is it? He says, why is that bear so unhappy? And the zookeeper says, easy. He's actually sitting in a spot where there's a nail that he's sitting on. So the young boy says, well, if he's sitting on a nail, why doesn't he move? And the zookeeper tells him that he's not uncomfortable enough or in enough pain to move. He's just uncomfortable enough to be miserable. And that right there, Dwayne, is people's lives. They're comfortably miserable. And a lot of them will complain about it. They'll play the victim about it, but they're not uncomfortable enough to actually do something about it. And while the boy's talking to the zookeeper, all of a sudden you see a bumblebee come along and starts buzzing around the face of the bear and irritates it, and the bear moves. Now, to anybody watching, they would have thought it was the bee that made the bear move, but it wasn't. See, the bear was already uncomfortable, already miserable. It just needed a little more chaos. So the bee coming along was just the extra little bit of chaos added to the nail that finally caused enough chaos that the bear said, okay, I'm moving. And so what I consider myself is I like to be the bee. I'm going to bring more chaos to people's lives. You've got to be real with yourself. And when you're willing, and that's one of the topics I covered in one of my podcasts, one of my earliest episodes, is being real. It starts with you. You've got to be real with yourself, because if you're not, how do you expect to be real with anybody else? And if you're not happy with where you're at, take a step, change something, have the courage to go for what you want. Because either you're going for what you want or you're not, or you're going for what you don't want. And so with the book, we walk people through. So Roxanne's one of my most amazing supporters and coaches, and one that holds me to a higher standard. And then the amazing Jason Checkin, someone you know very well, lives in Montreal. He's here with us in Calgary at our home right now during the launch of our book. And I love that he posted that, buy a single book, go to our website and get a single book, or even get a 6-pack. And people might ask, why would I buy 6? Do I read them all? All 6 of them? I take it and read each book? No, they're all the same. But there's a couple reasons why you get a 6-pack. There's a saying that says your income will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to increase your income, help the 5 people around you. So you get a copy if you buy a 6-pack. One of the things we're doing, and I encourage people to actually go to Success Left a Clue right now while we're doing this live broadcast. If you haven't ordered your copies already, do it right away. Because if you order what we're doing right now for people who get a 6-pack, I will make sure that I will autograph and personalize one of the copies to you. So that will be your copy. Then you give the other 5 copies away to the 5 people you spend the most time with, so that you get them raising their vibration, get them bringing their income and their success level up, so that altogether, all of you raise yourselves. You pull each other up. And so that's what we're doing. And that's what the book is really about, is getting people to live their lives to the greatest way that they can. And just by using success principles that are out there everywhere, I just bring them to the forefront of people's minds.
Okay. I like that. Got me speechless now. Don't know where we're going to go next. I was just filling my head with all that stuff, and actually we use that. I think a lot of people use that. The average of your 5 friends. Back in January, I started a dinner for 6. So it's like a dinner party. So invite 4 people over, and cook dinner, hang out. We did it for a couple months, then it kind of stopped. So it's time to get that back out, and your book would be a great anyone out there who's doing book clubs, Success Left a Clue would be again a great book club book. I have a couple colleagues here who I know, friends from Peaks, that she does a monthly book club, Alicia. So I think I will be sharing your book with Alicia to say, why not, let's introduce it as a book club, because it can have that piece of that workbook. I love the idea of the workbook, and it's just, you just don't sit down and plow through it. You read a bit, let it soak in, read a little bit more, do the exercises.
Well, and through a book club, if they do it and they do the actual action steps together, that's the key. So I saw Linda, I think, posted she wanted an example of what one of the action steps is. And so I'll give you one of the examples right from the book if you want. Do you want me to do that, Dwayne?
She asked for an example of one of the assignments.
Yeah, so one of the assignments or action steps that we call them. And so I'm going to go right to the very first one. In one of the biggest ways that people create their dreams is, and it's step 1 in my book, is people have quit dreaming. And as a child, people, anything was possible. One day I was an actor, the next day I'm a lawyer, next day I'm an astronaut, the next day I'm a doctor, next day I'm a truck driver. Anything and everything was possible. But then as we grow up, all of a sudden people start doing things like, hey, you didn't come from the right family. You don't have the right education. We don't have enough money for you to actually go to college. And we, out of love a lot of the times to protect us, those dreams start to get smaller. And so I want people to not just dream. I want them to dream big again. And I'll ask it like this, Dwayne. What does it cost you to think? You tell me, what does it cost you money-wise to think?
I will think big and not small because it costs the same.
Right.
Just time. Hey, and before, I'm going to do a quick trick. Before you shout out, or before you share the example here, what we're going to ask is, we have 5, 6, we got a couple of people on live with us right now. And what we're going to do is, and there's Allison. So I'm going to ask Allison and Linda and maybe Gordon and Jason if they can share this feed. Because if they don't share, they don't get the free stuff. I did this on last Saturday, Robert, and it really worked well. Because I told people, I'm not going to tell you why I don't want to hang out with like-minded people anymore until at least 3 people shared. And as a result, 3 times the viewers viewed the video because other people shared it to their network. I know I shared it to mine, and you shared it to your fan page. So we've got some people covered, but I want, and again, we have some people that were just with us on Tuesday at Monetize Me. So I want Linda, if you can share it, and Allison, if you can share it, and a few more people if they share it, and it will tell us if they shared it or not. And until they share it, nothing's free. You have to train people. I'm learning this is that if you want, you have to reward people for taking action. So I'm rewarding you. You took action, so we said let's do it today. And then we reward actions to say, what do you want people? It's comfortable just to sit there and watch and not do anything. But if people actually, all they have to do is hit that little share button. So thank you. Gordon shared it. Allison shared it. Thank you. I think we just need one more person, maybe Jason. Jason, give Jason a kick under the table and tell Jason that, there, Jason. Okay, there we go. It's that easy. We just paused for about 20 seconds. We paused for 20 seconds, held back, and then people shared. So, all right. Now you have to, now we reward. So we say, hey, I will reward the behavior. You did what we asked you to do. And now let's hear an example of Thank you.
Excellent. And you know, as a trainer, I just did that in Singapore last weekend. You know, I actually said I can be uncomfortable longer than you can, because in Singapore, people have become so comfortable there, and their excuse is, we're in Singapore. We show up late. That's what we do. We don't take action. It's what we do. We're very comfortable. But their economy is starting to go down. They've been very comfortable for a lot of years when their economy's been on the rise. But now it's tanking, and they're wondering, well, it'll just come to us. I'm like, no, it won't. You've actually got to do something. So I actually sat with my assistant trainer on the edge of the stage on the second morning, and I said, until you guys, it's something as simple as sign up to come have a meal with us and ask, so you can ask any question you want. Any question. It costs you nothing to do it. Until you go do that, we're going to sit here. And we sat there, and we were prepared to be uncomfortable, because you're right. People have to take it. That's why even now I say, you know, if people go and actually, while we're talking, they go and order their book right now, I will reward them. One way is I'll actually autograph their copy of the book, even if they order a single copy while you and I are talking. I will personalize the book for them and get it out. But it's got to be while I'm live, not the replay, but while I'm live on this with them. If they do that, we'll do that. And while we're doing that, before I share something, I want to show you. You see how I'm known for the clue? Well, we actually created something. And would you like to see what it is that we created?
Yeah.
It's on the back of my shirt, so I'm going to have to turn around and show you. And we actually even have trademarked it. You know how you have the big thing on your sharing on your when you're doing text and all that is emojis, emoticons. Well, we decided to create what's called a clue-moji. It's a clue-moji. So I'm gonna take the earpiece out so I don't pull my computer. But take a look at this. I don't know if can you see it all right?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
That's the clue-moji right there. So, well, I was in Dublin, Ireland, and Singapore the last 2 weeks. Roxanne and Jason were going crazy, getting coffee mugs with it, getting T-shirts, getting the shirts like this, because we're having fun. You know, one of my clues that I give people is make everything you do a reflection of you. And Dwayne, you know I love having fun. And because I have fun in everything I do. So that's the key. All right, let's get back to an example. So the first step is, if it costs you nothing to think, then why not think big? And so I tell people, dream the big dream. That's step number one. We walk through a whole process, getting dream bigger again. And one of the greatest things I love creating is dream boards. Now, Dwayne, do you do dream boards? Do you have a dream board?
I did a dream board with actually somebody did that as part of one of his 3-day programs. We did a dream board at the end of the day. And so I have that, and I've also done it with Pinterest and putting tagging in Pinterest as well.
Yeah, creating dream boards is activating the law of attraction in your favor. So one of the action steps is I actually tell them, get a poster board or anything similar and start creating a dream board. Write down your dreams on this board, use pictures that you find or have drawn yourself, and affix them to it. When it comes to a dream board, don't just cut out pictures, slap them on and tuck the whole thing away. Have you ever seen children's artwork on the refrigerator? This is your time to do the same for yourself. In fact, if you have children, tell them that this is mommy or daddy's artwork. Put it out there. I want to see it daily. Trust that the universe will help you move in that direction. Your energy will attract what you want. And when you do this, the entire universe now knows where its job is, fulfilling your every wish. And so even in today's day and age, technology, you can do this, like you said, on Pinterest. You can do it other ways. So what I want people to do, and the first action step is actually telling them, go build that dream board. Because then as we go through the other steps through the book, it actually builds on that. So until they build the dream board, I don't even want them going further in the book. Make sense?
Hey, I have a quick question for you. So once you have that dream board, and as you start to achieve the things that are on the board, what do you suggest? Because I had someone told me, don't go and cross them off, because now you're setting that you're actually canceling it, but to circle them or do things like that, so that they don't go and put a big, I got it, and put a big X through it, because you're now saying, well, I got it, but I don't want it anymore. So what's any tips? A tip on, okay, you got the dream board, and when things start happening, do you leave them on? Do you take them off? What's the
couple ways you can do it? is one, if it's on a physical piece of cardboard that you've pinned things on, I would write yes or success or complete across it. So you can actually see that, and the more you're writing on it that it's yes or complete success, it'll help activate the other dreams to reality. If you're doing electronic version, because as you're aware, I developed an app called Amantora, where you actually physically online do a dream board. And when you put your picture on of what it is you want to accomplish, once you've completed it, you actually overlap the other picture, the completion picture. And when you look at your dream board, it'll go, here was your dream, here was the reality. Here was your dream, here's your reality. So the dream board actually comes alive the more you complete. So we've done that as well. That is our version 1. Our version 2, we're going to make it even more dynamic, because it's going to look like you cut out pictures and put them all over. And then as you complete things, it's going to allow pictures of your completions to float across in different patterns across your dream board to anchor it in that you're actually doing what you said you wanted to do. So there's a number of ways you can do it. Absolutely.
Okay. What's the name of your podcast? Because people are going to love you today, and they're going to, I want to hear more of Robert. So what's the name of your podcast, and where can they see it?
It's on iTunes, and it's a really tough one to remember. It's called Success Left a Clue. Exact same title as the book. And yeah, it's on iTunes. I do it weekly. We're 43 or 44 episodes in, so it's coming up on a year. And as I travel around the world, one of my clues that I have is, the clue is this: write it down. And I think, tell me if you can relate to this, Dwayne. When you're going through your day-to-day life, all of a sudden you get some inspirations that hit you. But if you don't, like 10 seconds later, it could be gone. And then you're trying to remember what it was you thought of, but you can't. Have you ever had that happen to you?
A lot.
Yeah. So I tell people, write it down. That's where your phone comes in. I will write a note, because I'm always getting messages of what I want to say on a podcast. So as I travel around the world, something hits me, I instantly pull my phone out. I don't try to remember it. I instantly type it down, and I can let it go. And then from all over the world, I'm doing recordings. I can be in hotel rooms. I can be at home in my home office. I can be out flying. I can be in a airport in a lounge waiting for my next flight. And I'll just record. They're 5, 10, 15. I've done interviews sometimes where they're up to an hour long. And so I'm just putting my passion out as they come up and just giving people clues on my podcast.
All right. And what's your tip? Like, if someone's thinking, it's like, oh, as a podcast for me, what would you're doing it. So we keep telling people to do podcasts, but I want to hear it from someone who's doing it.
Oh,
what's your advice for someone sitting on the fence?
In today's technology, why wouldn't you get yourself positioned as an expert, even if you don't think you are? There's a saying that, one of my favorite quotes from T. Harv Eker is, every master was once a disaster. And the biggest thing that holds people back from doing their podcast is, I don't know how. I've never done it before. That was me when I did episode 1. I went to Fiverr.com. I paid $5 to have someone do an intro and an outro to make it sound pretty cool. I then got on my computer and I just talked. I said, it's not going to be the greatest. But I'll improve as I get along. Now that I've recorded 50 episodes, not all of them have released yet, but now that I've recorded it, we've changed our intro, outro. We've updated things. I now integrate music, because as I got started, I'm having fun. All of a sudden now, and people, from the thousands and thousands of downloads, people are sending messages going, thank you, you helped me. So for people that are listening to this, Dwayne, I want them to just get started. Start talking about something that they love, that they're passionate about, so that they can get it out there. You never know whose life you're going to impact. You never know that maybe something you say, a person goes, I needed to hear that right now. Thank you so much. So it's like you have to just do it. And so that's going to then get you some, like a blog. It's going to get you notoriety. You can say, hey, not only am I an author, which is instant credibility, but I have a podcast, instant credibility. And if you're in business at all, credibility makes a big difference. That's one of the reasons after 15 years, I finally decided to get the book out, is because I've traveled all over the world, trained hundreds of thousands of people, but I held back from writing a book. I finally got the podcast going, all of a sudden I started getting more notice. I just committed to writing the book, got more notice. So even at the level I'm at, I wasn't doing some of the things that I know needed to be done. So if you're listening to this and you haven't done a podcast, listen to Dwayne. Find a way, ask him how to get started, get his guidance. Because step number 3 in the book is find a mentor or someone to model. So if you've never done it before, chances are someone has. Hello? Find out how they did it. And I know you were mentioning, Dwayne, that you actually help people get podcasts going. So then get a hold of you. Ask you how to help get started, because I'm sure you can tell them the easy tricks for the technology to use, the equipment to use, all of that. You can get started for nothing, but you just get started and then you enhance. You can then monetize it and then you get better quality equipment. Just get going. Yeah, seeing Dwayne tomorrow. Need help? Can't wait. Perfect, Linda. That's it. That's it. Get started. I'm not passionate about this whatsoever, Dwayne.
No, not passionate. A little bit of passion. Just a little bit of passion. All right. All right. Here's a question I tend to ask my guests that I have interviewed the last couple of times. We kind of hit this rapid response piece. We'll fire a couple of questions at you, or if anyone else has some questions. But so you told us 2 members on your team, but I'm pretty sure your team's a little bit bigger because you've run a successful business. So I'm not going to give any tips as to what business advisors you should have on your team. You tell me who's on the team, whether, and it can be outsourced people as well. You just said you've used Fiverr before. That's bringing in team members. Who's on? You don't have to name names, but who's on the team?
Yeah, look, when putting the book together, so Roxanne and Jason are the main team members because we are fairly small, fairly tight. But yeah, I use Fiverr like crazy. Every one of my podcasts, instantly, I have a person on Fiverr that transcribes it for me. So you want to take anything you do and you want to get it out there in as many ways as you can. So I instantly have it transcribed, put on my website. When we wrote the book, I had a person do the formatting, a person do the editing, never relying it on myself. Mentors. There's what I call 3-2-1 rich. If you want to, this is something that people can use right now. If you want to have success in your life, make sure you always have 3 coaches. 3 coaches. And so that could be a life coach, it could be a health coach, it could be a success coach, a business coach, whatever it is. Have 3 coaches. So I'm always having 3 coaches. 2 mentors. Always have 2 mentors in your life. So I'm always having mentors, people I look up to. Now, people go, well, okay, Robert, what's the difference between a coach and a mentor? And I didn't know myself either. But here's what it is. A coach is there to draw out of you what it is you want to do and then walk you through, hold you accountable, get things created. A mentor is someone who's done what you want to do, and all they're going to do is say, do this, do this, do this, do this. So as an example, I mentor trainers on how to create 7-figure training businesses. When they interact with me, if I do a call with them, it's 15 minutes long max. They're not doing any talking. We record it, and I say, here's your next steps. Boom, 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 do this, do this, do this. And we record it. I send them the recording so they can listen to it. Or by email, they email me a question. I tell them what their next step is. I'm not drawing out of them what it is they're passionate about. I just say, do this, follow this. So 3 coaches, 2 mentors, and be part of at least 1 mastermind. 1 mastermind. Surround yourself with those like-minded people, because that's why, you and I have been part of some high-end masterminds. And when you do, all of a sudden now you're in a higher vibration. So if you follow those 3, so that's my team. That's my team really there. Roxanne and Jason are the core. They are the heart of it. The 3 of us. But yeah, we have people from all over the world helping us in the coaching, the mentoring, the outsourcing, stuff like that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's it.
All right. That's close. That's one good answer. That's a fantastic answer. So I love that 3-2-1.
Rocking in the free world. Now, let me explain what just happened there. You can hear people in the background.
Are we booking sales? Are we rolling sales? What's going on?
We are. That's it. And Linda, that was for you. That was for you. She's obviously going to get an autographed copy. So step number 4 in my book is you celebrate your successes. What stops most people from going forward, Dwayne, is they get a success and they don't celebrate it. So even us, one of the things, like I got goosebumps, my arms lit up right now. One of the things that we institute in is every time a sale comes in, we just all start singing that song. And that came from Jason. And so Linda, love it. And so what we do is the moment every time a sale comes in, we go, keep on rocking in the free world. And we just do it. We create it. We celebrate it because that's what leads you to another level of success. So that's what that was. And that was for Linda because she took action while we were on this call.
All right. And thank you for proving my point. Facebook Live works.
Yep.
Absolutely
It does.
It works. All right. A last little, or not last, but a little bit more piece to my who's on the team, because I know you have them. Because well, maybe you don't. Maybe you love doing your own bookkeeping, accounting, tax returns, financial planning. Come on. I know there's some other maybe that's Roxanne. You tell me
no,
who's
no
names, but just tell me, just expand a little. That's kind of where I was going. The fact that I've interviewed a couple of people, successful people in network marketing, successful coaches, and really from day one they had their accountant, bookkeeper, financial advisor in place. And again, this is just me. This is me preaching to say this is what I do as a CPA, accountant, and a licensed financial advisor here in Ontario. This is what I tell people that they need to do. But if I say it's like, you're just wanting clients. I'm like, yeah, I want clients, but who doesn't want more clients? But I want to. Success leaves clues. Successful business people have advisors on their advisory board, and so I know that you must have. I'm guessing you have at least one more.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Unless you're a CPA.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because that's huge for me because most people that are entrepreneurs, they try to be solopreneurs. And that's really what they are. They think they have to do everything. And I interviewed on one of my podcasts a gentleman who spent 13 years in prison. And I asked him, and now he teaches countries how to keep their kids out of prison. And I asked him, I said, out of those 13 years, Andre, did you ever spend any time in solitary confinement? And he said, yeah. He said, 5 of the 13 years I was in solitary confinement. And that's the worst punishment you can give someone is when they have to be with themselves. And so I'm coaching him. I'm mentoring him on how to take his prison experience and help entrepreneurs. And I said, think about it like this. Most entrepreneurs are actually solopreneurs because they think they have to do everything themselves. So they've actually put themselves in solitary confinement. And they wonder why they struggle. They wonder why they have a hard time. And I learned this in my Domino's Pizza. When we started, we didn't have a lot of money. So we thought we had to do everything, including our own bookkeeping. And for the first year and a half, 2 years, we did. And Dwayne, it was an absolute nightmare. My wife and I were already working 7 days a week, open to close in our business. And now to also think we had to do all the bookkeeping, all of that. But because our limiting belief was we couldn't afford to have a good accountant, a good tax advisor. I learned luckily that a great accountant and tax advisor will actually save you more money than it ever costs you to pay them on a yearly basis. And so we finally said, we need to get one. We got a bookkeeper. From that moment, every business I'm in, I automatically have someone else doing it. So I have a great company out of British Columbia that are not only the bookkeepers, they're the financial advisors, both for my business Canada and the US. We get on with the main advisor at least once a year. We strategize what worked last year, what didn't work, what would we do different. I'm constantly in contact with my bookkeepers and the person who does the main stuff for our books. She's got the questions. What was this expense? What was that? And I thank goodness for them every single day because that's what they do. They're good at it and allows me to do now what I'm good at. So if an entrepreneur is out there listening and they're going, well, I think I can't afford an accountant, you are going to be much more productive doing what you're good at. If you're good at marketing, then doing the marketing and watch that. And, they're the ones that do what you're good at, let them do what they're good at. And that way you can actually stay focused and make money where you're good, plain and simple. So I have them as part of my team.
All right. Yeah. Fantastic. And thank you for that because it's not me saying become disconnected with your numbers, know your numbers and actually make sure you're pushing your accountant and your people to provide you summaries of your numbers and understand the details and understand it. I don't like the other pieces. All of a sudden you hear these stories of my account. I ran out of money because I didn't know what was going on. That's not good business practice either. But it's a partnership.
Yeah, they're in a different province than me, but we've got QuickBook Online. So we're constantly, I'm in looking, they're able to walk through stuff. We're able to, because you have to take ownership of your responsibility of your numbers. So plain and simple. So just because someone else is doing it, oh, you better believe I know my numbers. Because what you monitor, you can monetize. And if you keep score, that's the only way you can know if you're doing good or not doing good. And so you absolutely have to monitor. So I'm glad you brought that up. And, while you were mentioning that, my wife came up the stairs and she got my attention because, look, even that's what's great for a team because they're downstairs watching this live broadcast on Facebook as well. And what they said is remind people, and because I forget sometimes, just like Linda is about to learn because she ordered the book, but anybody who actually orders the book or orders a six-pack, we've got like over $1,700 in bonuses that they will get just for ordering the book while we're doing the book launch right now. Things that I brought in from friends of mine that instantly they'll get access to when they get their book. They'll get a download, be able to download a ton of bonuses because we want to incentivize people to take that action now.
All right. And just because sometimes people are like, oh, it's going to be so expensive, so they don't even want to click on the link. How much? How much is a book?
$19.95 US, $6.99 shipping. And what's interesting, Dwayne, this will blow your hair back. See, it blew mine off. That's why I haven't done that.
I got to hold mine down.
So we're shipping. We decided to subsidize part of the shipping fee so that anywhere in the world people order, they can get the book, and it's only $6.99 for shipping on a single copy. If they order a six-pack, it is a little bit more expensive. But guess where, out of the whole world, the most important or most expensive place for us on our end, because we're only charging $6.99 no matter where in the world it is. But where do you think the most expensive country for us to ship a book to is? Take a guess.
Here in Canada.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. To ship a book in Canada, it's on average $10, $12, $13, whereas I can ship one to Australia, to Singapore for $9. It's crazy that in the country that we're in, that we're shipping from, is actually the most expensive. So what we decided to do is to make it easy for everybody is $19.99 for the book. They can actually order a hardcover if they want. Those are coming in within the next couple of weeks, and those are $29.95. But then it's $6.99 for shipping. The six packs, I believe we got for only $19.99 to ship. And if you on the six pack, if you buy 5 of the books, you actually get the sixth one for free. So that's how that works as well. And bonuses, right. bonuses. We love the bonuses.
We love the bonuses. And I love but real books. We're not shipping it's not ebooks. People are getting a real book.
Yeah. Yep. Hardcover or like copy in your hand, one that you can open. I still love reading books. Yes, there's Kindle, all that. In a few months, we'll probably release a Kindle. But for me, I like having that book in my hand. I like to read when I go to bed so I can just kind of wind down the day. That I love having that tangible thing right in my hand. And that's definitely what we're shipping out to people.
All right, I'm gonna just put it out there. If we got some people watching live. If anyone has any questions, I know Linda had a question. Without like asking Robert to read the whole book, like you got to buy the book to get the other stuff. He's not going to read the whole book to us. She did. And Linda did. All right. Are you still what are you training? Are you still training for New Peaks? What are you up to?
Yeah, well, I travel around the world for Success Resources. And so now that they're all one company around the world, including in North America, I just live my passion, traveling and teaching. Anywhere from 100 people to, my largest crowd has been just under 6,000 people for intensive weekends. I take about 6 months a year to be at home and do a bit of my other business. We're coding the second version of our app, Amantora, which is really, it's just my book in electronic form where you do stuff right through it. I'm mentoring other trainers because I decided to step up. Because step 3 in my book, or step 2 is find a mentor, someone to model. And part of it isn't just who can you learn from, but it's also who can you mentor. So I'm actually taking a page right out of my own book, and I launched my own mentoring program where I work with people who are high-end trainers or want to get to be high-end trainers that already do some training. And so I'm now working with them, telling them, again, do this, do this. So I watched a couple videos this morning from one of my students, sent them my feedback. And so love doing that. And just, oh man, I don't know. It's just enjoying life, loving life, and getting paid very well to travel around the world. So, like I said, Dublin 2 weeks ago. Then I was in Singapore last weekend. I'll be coming up. I'll be going to Seattle to do Train the Trainer. Yeah, in August. I'll be back into Vietnam, Hanoi, and Ho Chi Minh in September, and then back to Singapore right after that. I'll be in India coming up. I'm doing a training there, a warrior training there. So, yeah, loving life, having fun. Actually, no fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
No fun at all.
Right. Your face must get tired from smiling so much.
I feel I have a blessed life because I've been willing to not only do what it takes to create the reality, because look, here's another clue for people. Never compare your success to other people. Because some of your viewers right now may be watching, or people who are watching the replay, they may be watching and going, well, I could never do what he does. And that's because they're comparing. Do you remember, and Dwayne, you're old enough to remember this. Do you remember the old LPs, vinyl records? Vinyl records. And they had a side A and a side B. Side A was the greatest hits from that person. Side B was their other music that they wanted people to listen to as well, but not as well known. And especially with technology like Facebook, on Facebook, you tend to see a lot of people's greatest hits. And then we compare our side B, our lesser known things or our struggles, our life, we're comparing that to their greatest hits and wondering why we get ourselves miserable. So I tell people, never compare your success to anybody else. This is why I love biographies. Learn the person's backstory. How did they get to where they are? What did it take? And so the reason I'm where I'm at today is because I was willing to put the work in. Remember, every master was once a disaster. When I started training, was I good? Hell no. But I was passionate and I knew I was going to go forward. So I put in the effort. I kept showing up. I kept showing up and just being there. And then one day I was asked to be on stage. And from that, 5 minutes, I was asked to go on stage for 5 minutes and help out. And that's why I say it's amazing how 5 minutes can change your life. Because from that 5 minutes on stage, I realized and anchored in that, yes, this is absolutely what I want to do with the rest of my life. But back then, if you would have told me that I'd be doing what I do today, 15 years ago, if you would have told me, I would have said you're crazy because I couldn't see it. Because Dwayne, you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know how amazing my life could be as long as I was willing to put the effort in. So for your watchers, your people that are following you, be willing to go for your passion. It takes courage sometimes, but do it. Do it and watch your life change.
Okay. I'm just checking because people are putting some comments on Facebook. So just checking as well. All right. Is that enough time?
Hey, I'm good.
You can go all day. You're passionate. You can go all day. You got an hour ahead of us too. You're out in Alberta, so
yeah, I'm 2 hours behind you, so it's only like
2 hours. Just 2 hours. You're right, 2 hours. Huh.
And I'm going to point out another success principle that people don't even probably realize. It's right behind you. I saw Jason made a post on it. Love your bookshelf, and love that you have those books there. And mine, you can't see it, but it's on the other side of my laptop. I have 2 bookshelves as well that are cram packed. I've got a bookshelf off behind this banner that's cram packed with books. I love books. And so that's one of the reasons why you're having the success you are having, is because obviously you love to read and you're willing to keep growing yourself. That's cool. And I acknowledge you for that.
All right. I do have a bookshelf, but this actually is not my bookshelf.
Uh-oh. Well, then, whoever it is.
My bookshelf is packed in boxes because we just sold our house yesterday. So we decluttered, and actually, I'm not sure if you know, our realtor actually is. We're talking about relationships. So some people ask, is there really? I did a pretty good job today of letting you talk. So I'll share a little bit with you today. So people say, well, how did you get Robert on? I'm like, we've met you a couple of times. We have a couple common friends. I don't know, probably a couple hundred common friends in that sense. But again, are those they're real friends, but not people that I know super well. But you're a good friend of Paul Toby's, and we met when you were here training with Paul 2 years ago, I think. And then
Coming up actually almost 4, believe it or not.
what? Oh,
I know.
geez,
I know. Or it might be 3. It might be 3. I know.
three.
Wow.
And then our realtor, so Aldana. So Aldana, I met Aldana and her husband Tomas through doing the mastermind with Peaks. And,
Tomas, and yes, I know those two. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So actually, you had them up on stage at when you were training here with Peaks in Toronto. So yeah, so Aldana was our realtor, and what we did is we went out. I put up on Facebook saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a realtor. Anyone wants to help us out?" And a bunch of people put their hand up, but no one actually. A couple of people followed up, so I'll admit that we were working with a couple. And then she said, "Once you've sorted through, then come see me." So we said, "Okay, here's what we have," and then she told us what she could do.
Nice.
And the amazing part is, I think right now, we're looking up to give her some. We're actually going to put some like a marketing package together for her from our experience. Because I think right now there's about 130 houses in our general neighborhood that are all for sale.
Oh, so just a little bit of competition.
Just a little bit. Like there's 10, probably 8 to 10 houses in our street, in our immediate neighborhood.
Got it.
And one of the realtors has had no showings. So they actually came to her and asked her, "How come you have the?" I'll boast a little bit. So she did such a fantastic job. She's like, "You have the nicest looking house that you're representing on the street, and you have the lowest price. Not crazy low price, like not a stupid low price." And she's like, it's priced per where the market's going. So it's about, so I guess as I tie to the story is working with professionals. And I like what you talked about is these are things that work today, right? You talked about clues and so it was things that you've observed, but these are things that work today.
Yes.
So when you're looking to work with someone who's working in the environment for today. So if it's a Facebook person, make sure they know what Facebook's doing today, not yesterday. Better yet, have an idea of where it's going to go tomorrow if they have that magic ball, that crystal ball to look into. So it's all about having a importance of your team in any transaction you do. So in our case, when we're doing a real estate transaction, you build a team for dealing with real estate. If you're building your business, so for you, doing a book launch, you say, "Hey, I don't do a book launch every day. Who's going to help me do my book launch?" And bring someone like Jason in to say, "Okay, guess what? You may be part of the team all the time, but I need you like hands on deck for the book launch."
Exactly.
And that's important. And that's where, again, having members of the team, you can have temporary members and permanent members. And that's like there's different ways to work in people's businesses. So it's, so actually most people here in Toronto know where I am. So I actually hang out, at my girlfriend. So this is her bookshelf. Some of the books are mine at the bottom, but it's her bookshelf. But, I also have a pretty good collection of books that are now in boxes. Because it is, and actually I was with a gentleman probably that you may know as well. I was with Kula last night. So he actually launched his book with Raymond Aaron last night. So we were hanging out with him and he did a fantastic book launch. And again, his is, I should know the title, Action Leads to Success, I think is the title of his book. But some of the concept is that, again, it's all about success and learning from people like yourself, like Kula. And that's what I loved about the last 4+ years of my life is meeting people who are successful, continuing to be successful, and and guess what? You're not done yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we'll share the story. Now, is the other story, is it in the book at all? But it is maybe not in the book.
Which one?
Well, there's a story about, I'm not sure if you shared that story with us the one day, when you took time off.
Okay.
And what activated you to get back into that you were
Come out of retirement?
I think you actually, you actually believe that you were wasting your talents and not, you were not sharing the talents and things that you were given.
Yeah, and that's
Right?
not
Do
in
you
the
have,
book.
that's not in the book? Okay. Well, then we have there's still a couple of people on, so we'll post it and they'll pay, reward someone for sticking out for how about the fact that, that you wear the goatee because you just about died, brother.
Yeah, and it's interesting in that every single person on this planet has a talent, a reason to be here, a gift to give the world, plain and simple. And either you're living your gift or you're not. And there's a universal principle that says that which is not utilized is eliminated. And so, yeah, I was going full on when I started training for 4.5 years. I was home on average 2 days a month. I was traveling so much, doing so many trainings. And I was doing it because it was my passion. And Dwayne, there's such a thing as overliving your passion. Yeah. And so I decided in 2008 to take 1 year off. And that 1 year turned into 3.5 years. There's a couple reasons why I did turn in 3.5 years. But one of the things is I ended up going from overliving my passion to not living it at all. And the universe had given me some clues. The universe will give us lessons. It'll test us to let us know when there's things that need to be changed. And if we don't listen, the universe turns up the heat. And so here I was 2 years into my break that I said I was only taking a year off. It was 2 years in. And the universe had given me some hints. Robert, start living your gift again, start training again. And I wasn't listening. I was comfortable. And it's another one of my clues that's right in the book. It says your comfort zone is the killing zone of your dreams. Your comfort zone is the killing zone of your dreams. And I was comfortable again. And I was sitting there, and comfort is highly overrated. And it was August 10th of 2010. I was here, and across the street and up the 7 doors up the street, my mother and father-in-law, that's where they live. Very good friends with them. And my mother-in-law called and asked if I could help her out with her TV. It wasn't working. So I left my house. I walked up the street. Now, right across from where I live here, there's a playground. And that day, there was about 30 children playing in the playground. Beautiful, gorgeous, sunny August day. So I walk up the street. I help them out. I'm walking back down the street, and I'm in front of the playground. I'm about to cross the street to my driveway when all of a sudden, from the walkway beside my house, a couple comes out, and they're walking a bull mastiff dog. And I love animals. I wouldn't have a pig if I didn't. So they're in front of my driveway. I'm still on the sidewalk, and I asked them, I said, is she friendly? They said right away, no, she's not. We just rescued her. We're actually rehabilitating her. And so I stayed where I was. They stayed where they were. We talked for a while. And after a few minutes, I actually knelt down, and they slowly brought her closer to me. And I put my hand out. I let her smell my hand, and I was able to pet her head, pet her neck. There was no problems. But the moment I went to stand up, I don't know why, but she actually lunged for my throat. And it happened so quick, I don't know what hit me. Luckily, my chin was down, so she caught my chin instead of my throat, and she proceeded to try and drag me to the ground. And now I'm in shock because it happened so fast. The only thought in my mind was, if she gets me to the ground, I'm done. So I stood up. She's now hanging off of my chin. The gentleman who was walking her, he had to actually pry her jaws off of my chin. And then now it was taking him and his wife, it was taking both of them to hold her back because she was lunging back at me, trying to get at me. And now, blood all over the place. The thought in my mind is there's 30 kids behind me. Get her out of here. Get her, to safety, or get her away so they're safe. And so they proceed to drag her up the street. And as they did, I now went to my house. And as I'm walking up the sidewalk, I'm getting close to the door. Now the only thought in my head is, if I get blood in the house, my wife's going to kill me. And it's amazing what goes through your head when you're in shock. My wife got me to the hospital. We got stitched up. And I had a choice now. I could look at the attack and say, why did this happen to me? Or I could say, why did this happen to me? And I realized in that moment I had not been living my gift. 1 inch further, it would have been my jugular, and my gift would have been gone like that. And that day I made the decision to come out of retirement and that I need to start training again. And so I tell all the people that will watch this and watch a replay, they've got to start living their gifts. Live them to the fullest, or else the gift will be taken. So don't hold yourself back. Move forward. Go towards the passion, the success that you want. And that's what the book helps you do. dream and how to dream and take those dreams, put it into reality step by step by step. So that's the nutshell right there.
Okay. Thank you so much for that story. I've heard it before. It gives me goosebumps too. And that's a little tidbit because it's not in the book. And hopefully people see you train on the peak stage. But if someone doesn't get to see you in person, now they can hear that story in person from you on the podcast. Yes. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take this as evidence. We're going to take it off of Facebook. Well, we're going to leave it on Facebook Live. I'm going to download the video, and then we're going to share this and just do the audio to the podcast. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for all the people that came on live. Thank you for Linda. I just met Linda on Tuesday. She was at our event on Tuesday. I did a quick little 30-second promo saying, hey, I'm doing a podcasting made easy on Saturday. Who wants to come? Like that.
Perfect.
Her and two other women are for sure joining us tomorrow. And she took action today to get your book. So thank you, Linda, for showing us how well and she's still here. Yep. She's been on for an hour. So we reward people who take action. So thank you. My reward to you is doing this really quick today. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Jason. I know Jason's, it's easy to thank Jason, but remember to thank everyone. I know that's one of the things that I was watching a thing about on trainers and just thanking people for being them, for coming out.
Is key.
So many people, it was easy not to. And the great thing is with the time of day, people can still see this recording. We'll put it up so people can find it. And thank you so much for joining us.
And as I exit from one of my many trips to India, I love singing bowls, and I've got some beautiful sounds for you on 4 different singing bowls. Listen to this. I love the healing energy of sound, and so thank you for having me on. I look forward to people reading the book, being on my podcast, and thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it, Dwayne.
It was really fun. It was a great day.
All right. Have yourself an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you. This has been Calm Cafe with Dwayne Richards and my special guest, Raymond Riopel, the 3 R's. All right. Have a great day, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Excellent.